Alright guys, we're out here in train room number 2. This is going to be an overview of how I do my roads for all my new subscribers. You guys that have been with me for a while, you basically know the routine. So I'm going to show all the stuff that I use and how I secure it and all that other good stuff. So stay tuned and we'll be right back. Alright guys, what you see in front of you here is some styrene sheets, what I use to do my roads with. I start out with a for sale sign that you can get at Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever big box store you have in your area. Even Walmart carries them. These are about, probably about 10 to 15,000 thick. So after I measure the road for its proper width, which I am constricted on this layout because of space, this is what I come up with. And what I use to paint the road is just a light gray, and it's a sample, and this jar of paint costs about $3.95. I'll be using this little foam brush to put it on, and to secure it, thanks to my buddy Arthur Ocampo, he told me to use Gorilla Glue to secure it to the table. And so far, with the roads I've done, seems to be working out just fine. So, the next thing I will do is move this stuff out of the way, and we'll put this in place like here. And it looks like we've got a critter. Got him. Make sure that when you do this, that your edges are perfectly square so you have a good seam. And I use the seam as expansion joints so they don't look bad. And I also scribe in expansion joints. Just a couple little passes with my knife. It gives you the appearance that they're actually concrete pads. Also laid out my lines for striping. I'll be using highways and byway striping for this project, which I have done so far on all my roads. But anyhow, this will meet up right here, and make sure it's straight, and I'll put it down. Anyhow, let's get on with that process. So we'll be right back. Alright guys, as I mentioned in my previous clips that I'm using this for sale signs for the roads. One thing I do need to mention though is when you get these, they are very, very glossy, so you need to hit it with a little piece of sandpaper. This is like 220 grit, just to rough the surface up on the side that's going to be painted, and also the side that's going to be glued down so the glue can adhere a bit better. As you can see, what comes off after you sand it down, you need to make sure you got it clean, and then it's basically just simply painting it. Like I said, I'm using this light gray paint that I got from Home Depot, and then after it's rusted up, it'll look pretty good. I'm sorry, not rusted up, but weathered up. Anyhow, just go ahead and do this real quick, and we'll see how it looks. This will probably require 2 coats. I usually put 2 coats on there. I don't use any primer on this. I don't feel it's necessary to use primer on there once you rough up the surface. So okay, so anyhow, I do see a bit of yellow still peeking through the paint, so this will definitely need a second coat. Stay tuned, and I'm going to show you the products I'm going to be using for the scenery in the Wickenburg area where the bridge crosses over the road. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Alright guys, I'm going to show you some of the vegetation I'm going to be using in the Wickenburg area and the Morristown area. As you guys know, or you guys that live here know, that the saguaro cactus is the main plant here, and it is the one that identifies Arizona. So I started looking around, and I found this at my local hobby shop. There is no manufacturer name on here. I don't know if he does it himself or whatever, but as you can see, there's one saguaro cactus right there. Next, I'll be using the JTT product, which has again some more saguaro cactus, and it also has some, I think they call these prickly pear, and then they have some barrel bushes here. This is an HO kit, but the saguaro cactus get pretty tall. I did a picture of me standing next to one, and it was about at least 2.5 times my height. I'm 5'8", so you figure they grow at least 15 to 18 feet tall. And I don't know if you could see this on the prickly pear, but if I can get in there close enough, you can see there's actually some blooms on there, and that's prototypical of what happens here in Arizona. The nice thing about this kit is that they give you these extra arms right here, so I can modify these saguaro cactus to my liking. So we'll see how that goes, and after I do this little bit, we'll get out to the layout, and I'll show you what it looks like on the layout. And finally, these I bought quite a while ago. Again, this is an HO kit. It's from Pegasus. As you can see here, Pegasus Hobbies. It's cactus number 2, and has a variety of different type of cactus that you'll see on my layout. Anyhow, give me a few minutes and we'll get out to the layout, and I will show you how these all look. But before we do that, I'm going to show you how I lay down my highways and byways striping. So stay tuned, and we'll be back shortly. Alright guys, now we're out here at the layout, and I'm going to show you how to install the highways and byways striping. First thing you need to do is make sure you got your center line down, and also your marks for your lane dividers, as I've done here. Anyhow, we'll get on to how this is going to be done. It's really easy in N scale, and it's a lot easier for you guys in HO scale. Only because the parts are bigger. Anyhow, let's see if we can get into this, and we'll see how it goes. This is a full sheet of yellow striping that you get from Highways and Byways. It's missing a couple of stripes here that I've already used, but you can see there's plenty of striping here, along with lane dividers. You can get a lot of striping done with these here. And it's real simple. These are peel and stick. So basically, we'll just take my little hobby knife, and we'll grab one off of here, like so, and we'll just peel it off, like that. And I already have my lines marked off, as I said, and basically, just follow your line. on down. Once these are down, they go down pretty hard and they stay down pretty easily. They take weathering very well. I'll move this guy over a bit. And I do overlap a little bit. But if you don't want to overlap, just take your hobby knife and just go ahead and slice it where you want to slice it. I'll continue the yellow down, and I'll put a couple of the white markings down also. Now, as you can see, this sheet has been pretty much used up. I do have another one on order, and it should be here in the next couple of days or so. But the process is the same. I've got it marked off where I want to put them. I don't know if they actually scale the distance I have between them, but we'll peel one off. And like I said, it would be a lot easier for you guys at HO because they are a lot bigger. But anyhow, we'll go ahead and put it down. And make sure we follow all lines. You can push it over a bit. And then just voila, push it down. All the tick marks can be erased afterwards, and it kind of adds to the weathering. I'll do another one of the white ones here. Very easily to manipulate these as long as you don't push them down right away. And there you go. There's a couple more stripes. Anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and continue this off camera, and I'll bring you back when it's pretty much done. So stay tuned, and we'll be back shortly. Alright guys, we're back out here in the train room, and we're still working on the roads here. As you can see, I've got the last piece of roadway installed that goes up to the flyover bridges. Also, I have them marked off as far as where all my striping needs to go. And speaking of striping, I did get my white striping from John. Besides having a great product, his customer service is excellent. I think it took him 3 days to get this to me. Anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and finish striping this up just the way I've been doing it. And I'm going to do some weathering, and I'll probably show you how I do that also. So stay tuned, and we'll be back shortly. Alright guys, all my striping is done on my roads now. The next step is going to be for me to do a little weathering to it. I got this bag of weathering powder, like I told you guys many times that I've got these about 4 years ago. Anyhow, just a little paintbrush we got here, and I just put it on a little piece of paper, and I'll just dip it in. And we'll just come down the line here. And I know it looks like it might be a lot. I don't want to overdo my roads. And I just put it down the center. Then I'll take my finger and just rub it along the weathering powder right down the center of the road. And I'll just do this one here, and then I'll do the rest off camera. And once I get all of this down, I will take a paper towel and just go over it a little bit to get some of the heaviness off of it, and we'll have a weathered road. And I'll just take my paper towel and I'll just run it down. Just like that. And we got a little weathering on our road. Now for the final touch, I will just take my little mechanical pencil here, and I'll just draw in some cracks. I start from the corners, and I just come up like that, and I can make it spider web out. Do the same on this side here. and then a couple in the center maybe. And so that's how I do my roads. Anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and finish the weathering on this, and then I'll bring it back, bring you guys back and show you the whole road system that I've done for the Morristown and Wickenburg area. So stay tuned and we'll be back shortly. Alright guys, before we get on to the main road, I want to show you the road that goes through Old Town Wickenburg. Right here is going to be another scratch build that I'm going to be doing. It's going to be the museum that's there in town. As you can see, we'll come down here. Got your road and plenty of space for parking. And I'm going to use my scratch build backdrop buildings in this area just to give it a little bit more depth. I'm going to put fences around all of them. These will be the backs of the buildings. And we'll continue on down here. And this is the clock that Mr. GH sent me. And Mr. GH, it looks perfect. Anyhow, we'll continue down. We're going to have a road here. And come on further down. And then we'll have another road here. And then the depot. And then I'm going to put a maintenance and waste shack right there. And then eventually, it will go through the wall. Yay! Getting closer. Anyhow, stay tuned and we'll get back to the main road. And I'm also going to have a VBS tidbit for you guys. So stay tuned and we'll be back shortly. Alright guys, we're going to show you some more of the progress I've been making on my layout here. As I mentioned to you a couple of videos ago that I was going to do some ballast up in here, and as you can see, I've got some ballast down in there, and it goes under the flyovers and right up to the bridge. Now, on the roads, it's my flyovers, as you can see. You guys remember that stuff. Start going down the road here, and as you can see, there's scenery on both sides of the road. The road is weathered, and if you look close enough, you can see I've got some cracks in the road too. On this side here, it'll be 3 structures, and I'll bring this back when I have all the structures in place, and I'll show you the entire scene. But for now, I just want to show you the roads that I have completed and the scenery up to this point. And go across the bridge, and that's where I'm going to stop right there, just to give you guys an idea of how it looks going down the road and coming up the road. Alright, well, we'll be back as soon as I put all the structures on here, and I'll give you a full shot of the entire area. So stay tuned and we'll be right back. Alright guys, when you come to Wickenburg, you're going to be going over these flyover bridges, and you'll be heading in the north direction. In this area, we find a Shell gas station, a Burger King, and a McDonald's. And if we go further down the road, well, let me back up for a minute. Always good to experiment. These stripings on here are from Highways and Byways. They are the street stripings, but I modified them to work for parking lots. Anyhow, excuse me, we'll go across the bridge, and look who finally showed up. My cowboy on his bronking bucking bronco. Oopsie. The arrow is also Highways and Byways, and as we move further on down the street, we're going to find the Redneck and City Slicker disc repair shop. Cars go in like that, and they come out like that. Anyhow, we'll get a little further down the road. I'm adding details slowly to this scene. Anyhow, we'll go down, and we're going to go under the bridge right now. And here's my Wickenburg Bridge. I think it looks pretty good there. And then we'll shoot up to the hotel. And as you can see, we've got some scenery around there. Not too sure what I'm going to do with that corner back there yet. I'm tossing some ideas. I might put a little mountain in the background. I'm not sure yet. And the fire department is turned around the way it's supposed to be. Anyhow, we'll be back shortly, and I'm going to show you guys a little VBS tidbit right after this clip, and then we'll call it good. I hope you guys and gals enjoyed this video, and as always, your questions, comments, input, and subs are always welcome. For now, that's all, folks. BNSF 6951 out. Alright guys, what you're looking at here is a scrap pile that I made just using the little pieces that I had left over from Gary Weiss's build. But what I did do is, if you can see on there, I added some recognizable stuff, like here's an I-beam and piece of sheet metal and hand railings and so on and so forth. All I did was make a pile, put all the stuff together, and just poured a whole bunch of white glue on top of it, and this is what I wound up with. Did a little weathering to it, some rust and some black and so on and so forth. I'll fill in these white spaces here once I figure out where I'm going to put it on the layout. I'll just put some ground cover on there. Anyhow, that's my tidbit for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And as always, your questions, comments, input, and subs are always welcome. For now, that's all, folks. BNSF 6951 out.